For all things great iron and hard top, it's Kevlu and Steven's a Sandbox.
Since the Sandbox fans, welcome back to the studio. We're here on the late night getting a lot of work done for you guys. And we're back with another YouTube video, but everyone pause. Make sure you're subscribing. Make sure you're following the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. But guys, the question today, what we want to know is Tua the guy. Miami's defense has gotten a lot better in the recent years with Brian Flores. And that team was really pushing to try and dethrone the Patriots this year, which the Bills did to take that AFC East. But they had 10 wins, didn't make the playoffs. Is Tua going to be the guy that's going to lead Miami to the playoffs?
No. You know me, I've been out on him from the beginning.
You have.
Like, kind of the way I think about it is, if you're, like, under 6'2" as a QB, you got to have it. Like, whatever it is, like...
The it factor.
Deshaun Watson is not a big man, but he's got it.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
Kyler
Murray, Lamar Jackson, not big guys,
Russell
but they
Wilson.
got it. Russell Wilson, it. Dak Prescott kind of has it.
Yeah.
But it's like, dude, you have solid pieces. The offense blew. You have a young, good defense, a good head coach, and a backup who's a veteran who, like, you really only want going in. Like, your veteran who's been on 7 different NFL teams shouldn't compete for the starting job with the number 5 overall pick.
No, I absolutely agree with that. But a question that I have to ask in Tua's defense is, do you think that just the thought process of absolutely being pulled if you went down 2 touchdowns to put in Fitzpatrick could limit him? I feel like that's like a weird approach to a game, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I don't disagree about Tua, because like you would see flashes, like
Exactly.
You know what and not that we didn't see flashes with Tua, but maybe just not enough to be sold. And that's why I'm kind of thinking that maybe the whole Fitz thing was troubling. And if that's Brian Flores' mentality, what's to say even if they did start Tua next year, if they wouldn't do that with somebody else? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's just like the fact that you have the number 5 overall pick who got to sit. Like, he got to sit and learn. And like, when he got in there, like, he still hasn't thrown for over like 270 yet. Like, He really has not had a great game.
Even I've done that in high school.
Yeah. And it's not that, like, I think he's a good game manager. Like, I think his ceiling is like an athletic Alex Smith. But like we've seen, like, he's not athletic enough to like blow by you. He's not big enough to run through you. His arm isn't great enough to throw over the top every time.
Yeah.
It's just like I feel like he's just not special, but he's not bad. And it's hard to say a kid that's 23 like isn't special yet, but it's like, dude, like, they want to win. Like, I don't think he's the guy. I don't think he ever will be. But I've never bought an Alabama quarterback ever.
No.
So
I hear you.
No, yeah, you're right. And I mean, I don't think he's the guy either. I think he could be the guy on like a team, you know what I mean? Like a team that doesn't really, isn't in the playoff hunt. But for a team like the Dolphins, like you said, that wants to win, I definitely don't think he's the guy. And like you said, if there's an opportunity where, he throws 2 picks and they pull him, like the fact that we're even having that conversation just shows you that he's not the guy, because we're worrying about that situation occurring. You know what I mean? Like, There's not a lot of quarterbacks that are on contending teams that you say, like, oh, if this guy throws 2 picks, we're going to pull him. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Deshaun throws 2 picks in the game. Texans aren't pulling him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, Baker throws 2 picks in the game. They're not pulling him. Like, so the fact that we even have to talk about that, I think just shows that he's not ready. And the thing is, that probably would happen. So, I mean, if you're the Dolphins coaching staff, you have to realize that, Ryan Fitzpatrick isn't the answer either, but I think he's going to win you more ball games until you find the guy that you're looking for to replace them.
exactly. There's no learning curve.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's just hard because, like we said, like, what did he really get for a sample size? But, Lou, like you said, if he had the time to get eased in and he didn't come in and make immediate differences, that's obviously, concerning, especially with the way some of the rookies have impacted the games. Just say this year, look at Justin Herbert, you know what I mean? He wasn't even expected to be the starter this year, and Tua knew at some point in time that he was going to be the starter. I mean, when Ryan Fitzpatrick was your only competition, like, realistically, But let's talk about, the process. What does Miami do if Tua is not the guy? How do they approach, going into next season? I personally think if you're going to try and better the quarterback position, you have to try and get Tua out of there at some point in time. I don't think it would be healthy to bring somebody in and still try and convince Tua that he's the long-term option. You know what I'm saying? So if that possibility exists for Houston and Deshaun, I don't know like how realistic that is, but I feel like that would be good for Houston. They would get a quarterback. They would get a pick. Deshaun would go. I know they're still convinced they're trying to keep him, but what do you guys think a possible resolution could be?
I think it's that, or I call the Jags and say, we got tons of picks. We could give you Tua. What do they have, the 2 or the 3?
Yeah, something like
or
that.
whatever Houston has, and another future pick. So you get, as the Jaguars, you get 2 first-round picks, and then a quarterback who's won games in the league. I think Trevor Lawrence will be better, but, still, he's a proven commodity that's young, and you get 2 first-round picks. Would you rather have Trevor Lawrence with a winning record and then have no picks, you know what I mean, going forward, you're the 15th pick or the 16th?
Yeah.
Or would you rather Tua and then multiple high first-round picks? So I think that's an option, but maybe even if the Eagles want him or somebody.
Yeah.
Imagine Hurts and Tua together again in the
Yeah.
NFL.
Kev, is it because he's a lefty?
Nah. Lefties are elite.
It's I feel like he's the only young. I feel like he's kind of in the Josh Rosen situation where it's he was drafted high, hasn't played well. Even if the team wins, it's not because of him. So when you go to trade him, it's he was a 1, and it's but he's a 3rd-round pick now. So it's what do you do? I feel like that's such a tough spot because every team, I even think the Washington football team have better options. Why would you give up picks for Tua when Taylor Heineke had a better game than he had all season?
No, absolutely.
Even the worst situations are hey, we feel better than Miami does.
Yeah.
And that shouldn't be right. I feel like it doesn't make any sense.
And the crazy thing too is when they started bringing the whole tanking talk relative to the NFL, the first name you heard was tank for Tua. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that definitely didn't live up to the hype. And now you're hearing tank for Trevor, and it's just these guys are starting to get that NBA hype before they go in Zion got, and that's a pretty big stage. And I'm not saying that they don't have the chance to live up to it, but sometimes we don't even give them a chance. But, guys, that's going to wrap things up. Let us know what you think the deal is with Tua and the Miami Dolphins. Go subscribe, give us the 5-star rating on the Apple Podcast. Peace out, guys.
Peace.
For all things gridiron and hard top, it's Kevlu and Stephens, a Sandbox.